Good morning. My name is John Paton and welcome to our daily reflection. The disciple Peter is someone most of us can relate to. He was someone who tended to jump the gun or engage mouth before brain, things most of us are guilty of sometime or other. And it was Peter who jumped out of the boat to walk on the water to reach Jesus, but panicked and began to sink when he took his eyes off Jesus. And it was Peter who boasted he'd never forsake Jesus, only to deny him 3 times. And as I reflect on the reading set for today, I see someone who, although his faith had the odd wobble, he had what ultimately led him to have an unshakable faith. Now, Peter was a fisherman from Galilee, and to the Jews of Jerusalem, Galilee was the back of beyond. But the reading is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16. When Jesus came to Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who are the people saying I am?" "Well," they replied, "some say John the Baptist, some Elijah, some Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." Then Jesus asked them, "Who do you think I am?" Simon Peter asked, "The Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God." "God has blessed you, Simon, son of Jonah," Jesus said. "For my Father in heaven has personally revealed this to you. This is not from any human source. You are Peter, a stone, and upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever doors you lock on earth shall be locked in heaven, and whatever doors you open on earth shall be open in heaven." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now, a question. How often do you look in the mirror? For myself, it's in the morning. Have a quick look to make sure I've combed my hair, and probably whenever I leave the house, just to make sure I'm decent, and that's about it. So when we look at that person, the one looking back at us in the mirror, how well do we know that person? How well do we know ourselves, in other words? We might think we are okay, we're comfortable with ourselves, we have life sorted, but as always, life can usually be relied upon to be able to put a spoke through our best laid plans or dreams. So when those plans and dreams appear to be ripped away from us, do we sit moping about what might have been? Do we look for someone to blame? Or do we take a deep breath, get back up, dust ourselves down, and as the saying goes, get back in the saddle? No one suggests getting back will be easy, but it's always easier to have someone stretch out a hand to help us back on our feet. How we deal with setbacks in a way helps define who we are. It's the same with our faith. When our faith takes something of a battering, how do we react? Especially when we think we've got an unshakable faith. Do we just sit and mope? Do we take our ball home? Do we blame God? We will all have wobbles of faith at some time, though some wobbles may be bigger than others. I'll admit my faith took a bit of a knock recently, and I remember it raised serious self-doubts in my mind. But thinking back to those few chapters in Matthew's Gospel, when Peter's faith led him to climb out of the boat in the middle of the lake and walk towards Jesus, only to sink below the waves when he took his eyes away. Jesus' only comment after rescuing him was, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" It is always easy to trust God when things go well in our lives, but the true measure of our faith is never known when things are going well. It is in times of difficulty when doubt will make our faith wobble. It is our reaction to our wobble that counts. Dare we let our faith pick us up? Dare we get back in the saddle again? I can finish this reflection in only one way, with the words of the popular Footprints prayer. which goes, "One night I had a dream. I dreamed I was walking along the beach with the Lord, and across the sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to me, the other to the Lord. When the last scene of my life flashed before us, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. I noticed many times along the path of my life there was only one set of footprints. I also noticed that these happened at the very lowest and saddest times of my life. This really bothered me, and I questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you would walk with me all the way. But I've noticed that during the most troublesome times of my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, in times when I needed you most, you leave me." The Lord replied, "My precious, precious child, I love you and would never, never leave you during your times of trial and suffering. When you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you." Amen. Please take care of yourselves at this difficult time.